Detective Thomas Myers from the Port Jervis Police Department and talk about Project DARE. There will be a short film on Project DARE that will follow this interview. Hello, Tom. How are you tonight?
Very good, thank you.
I'm glad you got a chance to get down here to see us. Can you tell us what the DARE stands for?
DARE is an acronym which stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. The history behind DARE, it was originally started in Los Angeles by the Los Angeles Police Department and the Los Angeles Unified School District. Chief Gates and the superintendent realized that even with the strict enforcement, increase of drug arrests, the increase of education in schools, that the problem was getting larger. They decided to put their heads together to see what they could come up with to combat the problem of substance abuse.
Okay, what is the history of the Project DARE?
As I said, the history, it's a joint project between schools and the police department. Here in Port Jervis, we have a commitment with the Port Jervis School District and the police department to put on this program. It'll be targeted strictly for the 5th graders. There will be 17 lessons that will be taught in the schools. I'll be a uniformed police officer teaching in the schools. There'll be a teacher present at all times. The kids will learn out of these 17 lessons building self-esteem, being able to be assertive. What it does, it gives the kids the option that they need to grow when they become adults. And hopefully this program will instill in them some values that they can use, as I said, when they become adults.
How did you and the Port Jervis Police Department get involved with DARE?
The chief and I both received information packets back in May, and we discussed it. We saw that it could be a good program. I myself, I go to schools a lot, and I enjoy working with the kids. And we got together with Mr. Muscati, who thought it would be a real good program also. So we applied for the position, and I was one of 38 that was selected to be trained up in Saratoga Springs. I feel very fortunate due to the fact that there was over 200 and some applicants, and the little community of Port Jervis was the one that was represented there. So I feel very fortunate to be selected for this program.
What kind of training is required for DARE instructors?
The training is 80 hours, 2 weeks. When I first received the information on the program, I thought that it would be a vacation. So it was going to be in Saratoga Springs, and when I got there, I was rudely awakened to find that these people meant business. We did a lot of long hours of work there. A lot of it was public speaking. You were scrutinized by your classmates. They had a educator that was there. She is the Miss Linda Lang. She is the consultant for the Illinois State Police. In the video that we'll see later on here, she was a principal at the time at the school district, and later on, after getting into the DARE program, she became the consultant. And the training was hard, long hours. We had to put on a presentation. In the school district up in Saratoga Springs, we had to teach a class. And it was fun, but it was, as I said, nothing like I've ever done before. And I'm looking forward to presenting it here in the Port Jervis School District. I really feel it could be something that's going to really take off.
It's very good. How many DARE instructors are there in New York State?
Right now, today, I believe with this last class that graduated, there's approximately 70 or 75. That's all throughout New York State. There's other DARE programs throughout the country. They have major training departments, you might say. Los Angeles, where it originated, Illinois, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Kentucky. It's starting to pick up momentum now. But I think all total there's just a few hundred DARE officers throughout the state.
Would you like to go to the map and we'll go over that with you a
Sure.
little bit? Tommy, you want to show us what this map's all about?
All right, I have on here orange markers and red markers. The orange markers coincide with the class that I just graduated with. The red markers are police departments in New York State that have their programs. The total here, as I said, is between 70 and 75. Port Jervis, the closest place I have near me would be Poughkeepsie. And then you have Westchester County, the Albany area. There's not many of us yet in New York State. Pike County Sheriff's Department right now is trying to get a DARE officer in the school, and they're having a little difficulty. Hopefully, by the winter of this year, they'll be able to get somebody in. But all of these areas here, as you can see, New York State's quite a large state. There's not too many DARE officers throughout the state to present this program.
Oh, thank you, Tom, for showing us the map. How will the children and the adults benefit from the DARE program?
I'm initially hoping that kids, since those are the ones I'll be working with, will pick up a lot of ideas, will learn a lot about themselves. Eventually, they'll go back to their homes and hopefully communicate with the parents and sit down and maybe really have some talks about substance abuse. The problem of substance abuse is not something that's new. It's been in existence many, many years. But it's something that's growing. It's going from generation to generation. It's something that is not just one specific group. Anyone can have alcohol and drug problems. And I'm hoping that the kids pick up the options that they have. They don't have to be an alcoholic, or they don't have to be a drug addict. They can make up their own minds and live their own lives, and someday they will be adults, and this is what they'll have to do. So I'm hoping that right now, today, when this program starts, that the kids will really, really realize that people out there do care about them. And as police officers, we sometimes present an image of being hard, uncaring, but the majority of police officers do care very much about the kids, and I'm hoping that the parents will see that the police are in the schools to help the kids, and I hope to really get some real friendships going with these kids.
I hope you do, too. How long have you been with the juvenile?
I've been in the Juvenile Bureau 2 years now.
2 years? You work pretty good with the kids so far, I understand.
I enjoy the kids, as I said. I spend a lot of time at the schools, talking to kids, walking the hallways. They basically, most know me. Many times when I'm shopping, I have to stop and chat with some kids. I think they all think I remember their names, but there's so many of them, and I remember a lot of the faces, you know, but I have a good rapport with the kids, yes.
That's very good. How do your fellow police officers feel about the DARE program?
The majority of them really don't know too much about the program as of yet. It's going to be something that in time, I'm sure that they'll reap some benefits from it, as far as I said before, the identification by the kids of a police officer. They'll be able to go up and talk to any police officer. So that's what I hope to represent, police in general, and develop the rapport between the community, the kids, and the police.
And your police officers will back you up quite a bit,
Oh,
correct?
yeah.
Is there an expense for the program, and where does the funding come from?
There is slight expense. These are workbooks, binders that the kids, each one of the kids will get. The funding came from the Rotary Club here in Port Jervis. They were very benevolent, and they gave me monies to purchase these. I have enough now for this semester. There are other incidentals. The school has donated the supplies, and they've printed up the workbooks. There's approximately 36 pages of homework that the kids will go inside of that these kids will get, and the school has printed up the copies for them. The school has also purchased T-shirts. Each kid, upon graduation, will receive a T-shirt, a DARE T-shirt, and it's something that goes along with their certificate of achievement, and they'll get the T-shirt. Then there's items such as pencils and erasers that I'll hand out during the year to the kids also. But this is the big thing right here that I'll be needing. As I said, right now, I have enough of these, but eventually I'll have to solicit funds from other civic organizations and the schools to replenish the supplies that I use up.
Well, I want to go over to the tape right now, and we'll come back to you in a few minutes. Will that be okay, Tom?
Thank you.
Of all the problems associated with drugs in this country today, none is more alarming than the foothold which drugs have established in our young people. In Illinois, I asked the Illinois State Police to develop a drug prevention plan aimed at children and focusing on awareness. The State Police successfully answered this challenge with the implementation of the DARE program. The long-term goals of DARE include a reduction in the supply of controlled substances as a result of reduced demand, a more positive identification of police officers by our children, improved decision-making in all life situations, and an overall reduction in criminality. In addition to these goals, DARE portrays a unique and important bond between education and law enforcement. We understand that this is not the only answer for the prevention of drug use in Illinois, but we believe DARE will play an integral role in winning the war against drugs.
To demonstrate self-esteem, I'm going to use
DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. Developed in 1983 through the joint effort of the Los Angeles Police Department and Los Angeles Unified School District, DARE is a prevention program which focuses not only on the negative aspects of drugs, but on the positive side of life. DARE was designed to help young people realize that there are alternatives to using drugs, and that you don't have to use drugs to be successful.
Look and see how Bill's self-esteem builds and shrinks in a day. This could maybe be related to all of us. All of us experience good times and bad times in the course of a day. It's normal. Okay, 8 a.m., Bill's on his way to school. He comes across 2 or 3 of his friends, and they said, "Hey, Bill, after school, we're going to go play some basketball."
DARE in Illinois is an adaptation of the Los Angeles model. The Illinois State Police, State Board of Education, Department of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, local educators, and police officials laid the groundwork for the Illinois pilot program. DARE is administered by the Illinois State Police and is a component of the Illinois State Police iSearch program, a program for missing and exploited children. The primary role of the Illinois State Police is to provide instructor training and educational materials necessary in the delivery of the DARE curriculum. Local law enforcement agencies supply the majority of DARE officers who are responsible for actual classroom presentation. In January 1987, the Illinois DARE pilot program began in 86 schools, representing 46 school districts statewide. Once a week, for 17 consecutive weeks, over 8,600 Illinois 5th and 6th graders found a uniformed police officer as their classroom teacher.
One at a time. Right? Jimmy here, this is the most important part of DARE as far as I'm concerned. I want you to be able to act on your feet and be able to say no to drugs, whatever feels comfortable to you. Okay? We went through about 8 ways to say no. We learned that we could do a lot of different things, but whatever felt comfortable to ourselves was the way to really say no to drugs. Okay, Jimmy, without telling anybody and just going through it, I had a lot of people up here before.
DARE has shown these students that there's a caring police officer, and there's not only this caring police officer, but there's police officers statewide that are caring, that are there for their benefit, and that they're there. And DARE offers them an avenue and a channel for those students to be able to come forth and ask the police officer not only questions about drug and drug abuse, but any questions. Those kids are looking at you. If you're not interested in the lesson, or if you're not interested in what you're doing, they're not interested. If they see enthusiasm in you, if they see concern and they see emotion in you, then they will be so concerned.
I really thought that I was probably as nervous as they were about having a police officer, because I think their basic perception of a police officer was, you know, he enforces law, he'll put you in jail, the type of things they see on TV, a lot of violence. A lot of their first questions were, have you ever shot anybody? The typical, what do you do with your gun? When do you use it? And now it's come back down. They want to know some more personal things. You're more on a personal level with them now. They trust you. They'll talk to me. They'll say things to me I don't think they'll ever say to some teachers.
Right. What's a risk? Can anybody tell me what a risk is? I think when I initially started at school, the kids, the way they perceived me, the kids were very interested, wondering why a policeman was in class. I had a captivated audience. They warmed up to me, and as the program progressed through the past 17 weeks, became very close friends. They would start to confide in me. They accepted me as a friend over and above a police officer. From the PR aspect of having a police officer in the classroom, these children can see firsthand that you're not always in the negative role. You're not always being the bad guy. For once, you're one of them. They can be a little bit empathetic towards you as a person. They can look upon you as a friend, as a confidant.
When I found out that we were having a police officer on school, I thought that the school might have did something bad. You know, sometimes I thought policemen, only thing they did was just arrest you and took you downtown, you know, book you. That's really all I thought police officer was. But when I met Sergeant Morris, you know, he turned out to be cool, you know, nice.
Good afternoon, class. How's everybody doing?
When Sergeant Morris came to us as a teacher, I was a little skeptical, and I think the other staff members were too. We knew that he had been a police officer for 14 years, but we knew that he also didn't have any teaching background. We in education get a little hung up on credentials. And so when he came in, we were all watching him very closely. It was a very nice surprise. He's an excellent teacher. He has all the skills you would look for in a teacher. When I originally saw the program, I was very skeptical about having an officer in the program. Your first concern is, you know, the parents will think you have such a serious drug problem that you have to have a uniformed officer to take care of it. And I wasn't sure how some of the children would react to the officer. It's been fantastic. I was at a conference not too long ago where someone told me that the DARE program was magic, and it is. To see the officer with the children is absolute magic.
Saying no. What's one of the most important things that we can do if we find out that there's gang activity in our area?
Make sure you like.
The DARE curriculum is aimed at 5th and 6th graders at a time before they are exposed to the heavy pressure to take drugs at the junior high level. The DARE lessons last approximately 1 hour. Along with learning how to react when offered drugs, children learn about peer resistance, self-concept improvement, handling stress, value judgments, risks, as well as respect for the law, personal safety, and the glamorization of drugs and alcohol in the media.
All those things as a group will help them over a period of time. Okay? There's 3 reasons why people join groups or organizations. What are those reasons? Okay, give me one.
I've had parents come up to me and tell me what an impact that this program has made on their kids and how they talk more freely about drugs and alcohol at home now. The most positive impact that the DARE curriculum has had on them was the section on self-esteem, where it teaches a kid to feel good about himself. And when they do that, they're less likely to take drugs than before if they feel good about themselves.
No, I'm not going to be scared of people asking me to do drugs when I get older, because I know that I know what to say, and I'm not ashamed to say no to drugs.
If you don't have a lot of self-esteem, then if people come up and offer you drugs, then you're most likely to take them. But if you have a lot of self-esteem and they come up and ask you, then you won't.
My favorite part is the role playing, when we got to stand up and have somebody come and we just ask them, did they want some drugs or anything, and they say no.
Class, you've been so good. The children are taught that they have choices, but with those choices come consequences. We just hope that when they leave here, they're equipped with knowing that they have the choices, the consequences, and they also leave here with the technique to deal with a lot of these problems, just to walk away and say no. That's what we work on. Well, you think he takes drugs, and he threatens to beat you up if you tell on him. Should you tell or not tell? Well, that's tough. That's a tough question. First off, you might try to talk with your brother. If you love your brother, tell him, you know, hey, I love you. What you're doing, you know, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt our parents. You're going to hurt the family. For him to stop, again, he must realize he's got a problem, he's got to want to quit. If you really care about your brother, you might want to tell somebody you trust, your moms or dads, teachers, counselors. Get him help. He might be mad at you. We've talked about that. They might get mad at you, but someday they might come back and thank you for helping them.
What do we all say if somebody ever tries to give us any drugs? No! Hey, hike!
In addition to their work in the classroom, each DARE officer spends a great deal of time on campus. Meetings are held with the parents whose children receive DARE instruction to help acquaint them with the program and to answer any questions. The officers eat lunch with the children, interact on the playground, and maintain a high profile at the school throughout the semester.
It's very important for the officer in the school to be there for a full day, or at least to be there in enough time that he can be out on the playground and in the lunchroom with the children. That's the way they get familiar with him.
Joe? True. Absolutely true. Take too many pills or too much medication that you might be on. That's right. That's right, a little respect.
He doesn't just come in and teach the kids. He comes in and becomes their friend. Just right away, they learn to relax and to trust him. He asks them to share anything they'd like to share with him, and if they have something personal they want to share, he finds a private time away from the classroom to let them talk to him.
The DARE program requires that a certified teacher be in the classroom with the officer, which is an excellent component because the teachers then hear what the children are talking about, what they're asking. If there are problems brought up, it's something then that we can deal with.
Your boyfriend, you're sitting and your boyfriend...
There is no stereotype as to what type of child becomes involved with drugs. All children are vulnerable. A unique part of the Illinois pilot program was the implementation of a DARE curriculum for students who are hearing impaired.
The DARE program has been absolutely fantastic for the Illinois School for the Deaf. The fact that we had a police officer here who had some manual communication skills really enhanced the presentation of this information. And the information is really so critical for a hearing impaired individual because you don't hear what is being presented in general media and particularly on television or radio. And there's a lot of information that must be presented for these youngsters to understand what is happening if they do use drugs and what effect it has on their body and the general scope of the problem.
This afternoon, I have...
The very first day I came in, they were kind of leery as to whether I was going to be standing in a classroom and an interpreter was going to be there and interpreting my words to them and in turn having me go through an interpreter to find out what they were saying. They instead realized that there was going to be an immediate one-on-one relationship there as a teacher to students in that I could sign and had communication abilities.
We have a critical role in this whole thing because so many of the parents have not learned to communicate manually with their youngster. Most of these kids then get information perhaps in not the most appropriate way and maybe misleading information. This program really redirects it, gives good and meaningful information for these youngsters.
Know now better. Questions?
One of the greatest things about the DARE program...
The selection of DARE officers is a highly competitive process. DARE officer candidates undergo psychological screening, personality testing, and oral interview. Following their selection, the officers receive 80 hours of DARE training at the Illinois State Police Training Academy in Springfield. When entering the classroom, these DARE officers bring with them not only the skills they've acquired during training, but their individual qualities as well.
What do y'all think a risk is? You've all heard about risk and all those things.
The biggest thing you should probably have to come do this is probably a sense of humor and a little compassion because the kids are a lot of fun and they want to learn and they'll talk to you a lot if you just give them the time and listen to them.
Okay, the result of something you do. The reason why I got involved in the DARE program is because I like working and helping kids. I think it takes a special type of officer to work with these kids because you have to be understanding, you have to have a lot of patience, and you got to really want to help them in order to be successful.
If drugs can kill a grown man, like that has to be in you to want to hang up the gun, so to speak, for a while and relegate yourself to the classroom. A person has to like children. They have to like to speak, to address an audience. And I find that I thrive on that. I actually enjoy getting up in the mornings, putting on my uniform, and coming down to the school because I have a real bond with these kids. It's a real closeness, a friendship.
Lieutenant Turk, you know, what would you have
I've had children come to me in a wide variety of situations. I've had them come to me with a wide variety of questions, and I'm truthful with them. I'm honest with them, and I want them to realize that I'm not a special police officer. I'm a police officer like any other police officer is out there, to help them and to be there for their best interest.
At the conclusion of the semester, graduation ceremonies are held to honor the students for their successful completion of DARE instruction. Parents, friends, teachers, and school administrators are invited to attend the festivities.
Passed, completed, and taken a commitment against drugs.
In fact, let me...
As far as determining the success of DARE, an evaluation of the Illinois pilot program was conducted by AH Training and Development Systems. This evaluation showed that over 96% of the teachers and principals surveyed agreed that DARE made a positive impression on the children and is a valuable program. Parents of DARE students were surveyed at 45 of the 86 pilot schools. Of those who responded, 99% were in full support of the DARE program. The director of the Illinois State Police, Jeremy Margolis.
It's easy for us to forget that there's much more involved in law enforcement than arresting criminals and engaging in gun battles. Police officers can also distinguish themselves in quiet but very effective ways, preventing problems, heartaches, and tragedies in our society before they occur. I think it says a lot for law enforcement in this nation that we realize that relentless, aggressive, risk-taking street enforcement alone is not going to solve our substance abuse and drug abuse problems. We need to aggressively address the demand side of substance abuse through education in the hope of protecting our youth from the evils of drug and substance abuse. We'd like to provide kids with the opportunity to grow up feeling good about themselves, to achieve their full potential, to reach their goals free of drug abuse. The Illinois State Police is very proud of our DARE program.
The world's a different place where life's become a race. And unlike the world of past, our kids grow up too fast.
Cause what they see in store is threats of arms and war. And that deadly game they're taught, the happiness is bought.
So the children of today haven't time for child's play. They feel they're all alone, even strangers in their home. So to hide their pain and tears, they destroy their youthful years. By giving up on love and hugs and escaping into drugs. And if we say that we won't help cause the problem isn't mine, then it's more than just a shame. A lack of caring is a crime. Dare to keep a kid off drugs. Dare to keep a kid off dope. Dare to give a kid some help. Dare to give a kid some hope. Help us. We really need your help. You gotta help us.
I want to thank you, Detective Myers, for coming up to Access 8, and good luck with this project.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to being up at the school, being with the kids, and like I said, this program's a tested program. The program's going to work, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Remember, folks, these are our children Project DARE is working for. I want to thank you. This is Kathy Kaufman with Access 8. Good night.
Okay, guys. Today, we're on Lesson 8 in the DARE program. I said today we were going to talk about managing stress without using drugs. Who can remember what we talked about last week? What the lesson was about? Anybody can tell me? That word, that long word we talked about? Yes. Assertiveness, right. That definition was what? Can you read that for me?
A way we state what our rights are while we respect the rights of others.
Okay. Asserting ourselves would be stating what our rights are and also respecting the rights of others. And we learned that we communicate in 3 ways: verbally, written, and also with body language. And we learned that people who are assertive also are not as much at risk for substance abuse, drugs, and alcohol than people who aren't assertive. If we're confident about ourselves, we feel good, and we can get our point across. Today's lesson is on managing stress without taking drugs. Stress is a physical, mental feeling that may result from pleasant or unpleasant situations or events that happen in our lives. Each one of us goes through stress on a daily basis. When we wake up in the morning, the first thing that happens is the alarm goes off, we're put under stress. Or maybe we have a human alarm. Maybe mom and dad wake us up in the morning. So we're put under stress right from the time our eyes open till the time we go to bed. Stress can be good and stress can be bad. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little later on, about the good points of stress and the bad points. What I'd like to do is I'm going to write on the board the definition. If we could turn to page 2 in our workbooks. I know some of you ladies over here may have problems seeing it, so I'll repeat it a few times, all right? Stress. home can affect your body and it can affect your mind. How do you think too much stress would affect your body? What happens when we get stressed now? What about your organs in your body? What is the most important organ in your body that maybe does something? Yes. Your heart. What happens to your heart when you get under stress? Beats faster. In other words, the heart's pumping faster. So it's putting your taxing your heart. How about the brain? What happens emotionally to you if you're worried about things too much? What can happen to you? Well, you'd have a breakdown. That's what they call it, a nervous breakdown. Too much stress over too long a time can give you mental illness along with it. What is the physical illness where the stomach produces too much acid and it starts irritating the inside lining of your stomach? Anybody know what that's called? What is that called? Well, it's a stomach ache for sure, but there's a medical term that we use for that. It goes beyond a stomach ache. You hear a lot of moms and dads sometimes talking about it. Anybody ever heard of an ulcer? Yeah. That is caused from stress, okay? Too much stress on the heart, people have had heart attacks from too much stress. Too much stress, people have had strokes, all right? So stress, too much of it, in that sense, can be real harmful. As I said, in the old days, the caveman, he needed that fight or flight mechanism. But today, what we have to do is, number one, we have to recognize that we have problems, rather than worry about them. Then we have to go and find solutions to these problems that we have, which could mean solving the problems on our own, or if we can't solve those problems on our own, we go to a friend, teacher, mom and dad, and we see if we can get help. Healthy people try to get help from other people, all right? An example of the ways to control stress would be, there's a few of them. Number one would be learning how to relax. A lot of people that are under stress, the reason that they continue to have this stress is because they don't know how to relax. All right? They get very uptight. They continue to go over and over the same problems. They must learn how to relax. Being physically active and exercising helps also with stress. You're exercising your body. You're taking yourself away for the time being for your problems. If you play basketball for a couple hours a night, or you play golf, or you go swimming, or some type of exercise. Talking to someone about it, that's an important one. That's what I just said. If you have a problem, you need someone to talk to. By holding things inside, would you say that that's a good way to do things? If I had a problem, you think it would be best for me, because I'm an adult, to just hold it inside and just forget about it? You think I should go and talk to somebody about it, huh? That's probably the best thing to do. Even you guys, you have a lot of friends here. You can talk to these friends when you have your problems. Another way to help reduce stress would be doing things to help others. Sometimes if we get out of ourselves and our problems, we go and help other people, we end up feeling a lot better about things. Scheduling our time. Sometimes we have too much time on our hands and we don't do anything. So what we have to do is schedule time so we're constantly doing something. Leaving time for relaxation, but yet making a full day for ourselves. And this is most important. We talked a few weeks ago about people that feel good about themselves. They are said to have what? If somebody feels good about themselves, they like themselves, what do they have? What did we talk about? Remember that one lesson? I think we have a definition in the book about it. What is it? No. Self-esteem. Accepting things we cannot change. Example like physical features. Remember we talked about people with good self-esteem. They do things, they do them well, and they know their limitations, they know what they can't do, and they accept them. Some of you guys are short here. You're not as good a basketball player maybe as a tall guy, but yet maybe you're huskier and you play football better than the tall guy does. All right? So that doesn't make us a better person. All that means is that we play football or we play basketball better. We have good self-esteem. We feel good about ourselves. What I'd like to do now, kids, we're going to do a little relaxation and breathing exercise. What we're going to do is we're going to sit up straight. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to breathe in for 3 seconds and breathe out for 6 seconds, okay? I'm going to say inhale, exhale, and let me turn the lights off. This is a fun. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Now, keeping our eyes closed. Wouldn't it be nice? It almost feels like you're laying back in your bed. The alarm hasn't gone off. Your mom hasn't yelled upstairs and said it's time for school. You're relaxing. Nobody's head hit the desk yet, so I guess it's working. Okay. This is an exercise. We can open our eyes now. Time to wake up. What we can do is use this exercise when we have stress. Okay? When we get stressed, we can try this, we can practice it. And just see how it works. How many of you guys think that this might be helpful to you? You think it would work? I know there's some situations you wouldn't be able to use it. That's what we're going to do. And that is found on page 16. I'll go over that real quick. What they're asking you to do is list all the stressors or stressful situations that happen to you during the week. And then write them down. And if you get the opportunity, practice the breathing exercises. All right, everybody see that? Anybody have any questions on it? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. That's what we do next week. When we have a stressor or a situation that bothers us, I'll give you an example of a stressor and an action to prevent it, and also an action to reduce the stress. A stressor, being late for school. If being late for school is a stressor, what can the action be to prevent being late for school? What can we do before we be so we're not late for school? Yes. Get up earlier. Okay? And also, if we already are late for school, how about action to reduce that stress on us? What could we use to reduce that stress? We're late for school, we know we're late. What do? What do we say to ourselves? Anybody have any ideas? We're already late. We're going to be late for school. Mom's got to take us to school. What would we say to ourselves? Yes?
Don't worry, it's still going to make it.
Right. We can take some of the stress off by saying, well, don't worry about it now because we're late, but we're getting dressed, we're almost there, Mom's going to take us to school. Next time I won't be late. Okay? Same action you can use in other situations, in other stressors, especially the unpleasant stressor to you. What do you do? All right, that's a good question. Remember we learned some of the 8 ways, the 8 resistance techniques? What we do is we keep trying one of those 8 ways. All right? Yes? One way, she said we could use the broken record. What's another way we could use? AJ? Cold shoulder. That's another technique we learned. How about another one? Yes? Saying no thanks. That's the simple one. What else could we say? Walk away. How about another one? Change the subject. How about another one? I think we have like 2 more. Yes, AJ? Strength in numbers. Very good. And I think there's one more. What is that? Reason or excuse? No, there's one more after that now. What would that be? No. What would it be? One more. talks about situations. What can we do? Yes? Avoid the situation. Okay. So we remember we have choices, we have options. We can use one of those 8 resistance techniques. If some of those don't work, we can always go to an adult, like our parents, teachers, wherever this is, and explain to them, this person is trying to force me to do drugs and I don't want to do them. And they'll take care of the situation for you. Okay, kids, that's it for today. Next week, we'll talk about media. Media being television, radio, newspapers, magazines, billboards. And we're going to find out how media does have an influence in our lives. Okay? I'll see you all next week.
What did you think of the DARE program so far?
I think it's a good program to teach kids how to resist drugs and how to take care of themselves when they're in a situation when people are offering them drugs.
Very good. Very good. Who else would like to?
Sticky money, I don't know.
It's all right. We'll cut it out. Okay, what is your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. What did you think of the DARE program?
I think it's a good education for kids to say to people who are on drugs or alcohol. So.
Any of those drugs? Okay. I'll let you get up here. Okay, what is your name?
Austin.
Austin? How do you feel about the whole DARE program?
I think it's very educational for kids. I want to say now.
What else did you learn?
That stress helps you sometimes.
Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, Austin, thank you very much. What is your name? AJ? What do you think of the whole program so far? You gotta talk a little louder because they won't be able to hear you.
Well, it's good for the kids to learn about how to say no, how to take care of themselves.
Did you make a friend with Detective Myers?
I know he lives right downstairs from where I live.
Oh, great. So you've known him for a while.
And I know all of his children.
Very good. Okay, thank you, AJ. What is your name? Tabitha. Okay, can you tell me a little bit what you've thought of the program so far?
I think it's good for kids because it teaches them why drugs are bad.
Why is drugs bad? That's correct. Thank you. Vicki? Vicki, do you think this DARE program should keep going year after year? Yes, why? And what else? Okay, thank you, Vicki. Denise? Denise, what else have you done other than classroom work with Detective Myers?
Well, we've done role plays where one person would act out a role and then the other person would either like have to refuse or do something else like that.
Okay, thank you, Vicki. Or Denise, I'm sorry. Thomas. Hello, Thomas. What did you think of the DARE program and Access 8 coming to the school to see him?
Well, I thought it was good, but I was nervous.
Nervous? Why?
Never been on TV before.
Where do you live?
Huguenot.
Huguenot. What do you think of the whole DARE program?
I think it's good because kids should learn to say no to drugs and to resist or refuse drugs from their friends.
You think Detective Myers has helped you a lot?
Yeah.
You learned a lot from them, huh? Very good. Thank you, Thomas. Jerry here? Hello, Jerry here. What did you think of the whole DARE program so far?
I think it's
Get it up louder.
I think it's neat.
It's neat.
Helps kids learn how to avoid drugs.
Detective Myers help you a lot?
Yeah.
You like him up here at the school then, huh? Does he make you nervous?
No.
No? Okay, thanks.
What do we, on my reading class, what do we do after lunch? What do we do? Jennifer?
Breathe in and out.
We breathe in and out. So this is not a new exercise. The only thing is I make them stand up. They have to get rid of some energy. So they can apply what they've learned here for drugs.
Do you want to ask them again if they were under stress with the TV camera?
Oh, you want to do this?
Yes.
Oh, all right. We're going to do it again. This is great. You had practice. How many of you were under stress this morning? Okay. How did you know you were under stress? What happened? Jennifer?
My hands were sweaty.
Your hands were sweaty. Did you do any other symptoms? You got butterflies in your stomach.
And my hands were sweaty. I was shaking. I had butterflies in my stomach, and I felt like I was going to throw up.
What was your cause of this stress that we felt this morning? What was different today that we don't normally have? Lisa? What was the cause? What caused all this nervousness? Vicki?
People calling me TV station.
And what can we do to get rid of this stress? Austin?
To do the exercises